In 2008, you released the album Blue Listed. Has liner notes from Dan Aykroyd. How do you get a blues brother to do the liner notes? Like, where do these guys come from? I don't
Where
get
do
it.
these guys come from? Well, okay, so with Aykroyd, the way that I connected with him was um, going back to 2001 on that first album of mine, Defibrillating. I did a tribute to Little Charlie Beatty. Okay, that's Baty, and I called it Beatyology. So I guess Aykroyd asked him. He had the House of Blues radio hour for years, and it was internationally syndicated. So like this was a big show. Anyone that listened to blues knew about the show. It was on Shea 106 in Ottawa, and it was all over North America. So Aykroyd was introduced or interviewing Little Charlie, and he said something to him like, "So you when you're traveling, you must meet a lot of interesting people." And then Charlie said, "Yeah, in fact, I met one of your countrymen, J.W. Jones." Wrote a song for me called Batyology. And of course, I'm going to like anyone that writes a song for me. And in the background of this interview, you hear me. I'm like, and then, um, and then from that point, so Aykroyd kind of knew about me or my music or whatever. And then I ran into him that summer in Kingston. So I'm in the club setting up to play this gig, an after hours like blues festival gig in Kingston. And someone comes and goes, Dan Aykroyd's out there right now looking at motorcycles. And I said, okay. So I go out there and I go, I see him. He's looking. I said, excuse me, Mr. Aykroyd. And he's like, "Rah, rah." And he's just looking. And he's just not really responding. I'm like, hey, I'm J.W. Jones. I'm going to be. And before I could finish my sentence, he goes, oh, J.W., nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I'm coming to see you play tonight. I said, really? He goes, yeah, I'll see you there. I was like, okay. And sure enough, he came out that night and danced and watched the show, and that was the beginning of it all. And then from then on, he interviewed me several times for the show, hired me to play at a couple events. One was for Patron Tequila here in Ottawa. One was he had me play at a St. Pius reunion. He couldn't make it to the reunion, so instead of him going, he gave them the gift of the J.W. Jones band to play at the reunion, and he paid us. And I remember very well, he goes, whatever your rate is, just invoice me. And I was like, what do I put for the invoice? And I remember saying a number that was like twice as much as I'd ever made at that point, because it was like, that was what it should be. And he was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, just invoice me. I was like, okay. Like nothing to him,
It's a blank check.
Yeah, pretty much. So anyway, that's how I met Aykroyd, and since then, man, he's been so cool. Just a couple of years ago, and he sang with us at the Rainbow once too. He came out, which was really cool because that day, people were like, "We heard Dan Aykroyd on the Shea 106 doing an interview, and he said he's going to see you tonight at the Rainbow," and he did, and he came out, and then he came and sang with us, and people were going nuts. It was amazing. We did a couple songs together, and then even more recently, he played this Downchild Blues Band reunion tour at the NAC, and for some reason he shouted me out from the stage. I wasn't even there, and he was like, "Oh, shout out J.W. Jones." So anyway, he's just so cool and so supportive, and I'm just incredibly grateful for him to, have for all that he's done, and then writing the liner notes to Blue Listed.